Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for a story time. This is going to be a very, very crappy situation, as the title tells you in details. The story that I'm going to be telling you is about a previous job that I used to have, and something that was really unfortunate that happened. So, I mean, without further ado, skid and rinky dinky do, let's get into it. Alright guys, so this is just gonna be a really funny story. So back in the day, in the depths of time that is now, I'm not gonna specify the job, I'm not gonna specify the time frame or anything like that, just to be safe for myself and safe. But let's just say, hypothetically, that there was a job that I used to have. Then in this job, I would have to go and take pictures of houses. When you do that job, I think it's important that I explain how the job actually works. It was probably one of the worst jobs that I've ever had. I didn't spend that much time in it. I think I worked it for a couple months because I actually just needed the money. I had to use my own car, and the site that I worked in, or not even the site, but the area that I worked in, I worked pretty far away. So I had to drive at least 30-40 minutes just to get to the area to work. And when I got there, we were paid very small amount of money. Say for a house that I did not have to go inside, which is just a house that I would just take pictures of, it was $3. And let's say for a house that I had to go inside, I got paid about $5. It sounds very low, and it'd be like, wait, how did you do that job? If you really break down, especially a person that gets let's say a job that you work now, you probably can break down that you make about, depending on what it is, like, previous jobs that I broke down when I used to stream, I know I made about $70 something a day, with the taxes and stuff like that. So what I would do when I used to stream is that if I got a bunch of donations or something like that, if it was above $70 something, I would then someday in that week take a day off, because I would say, hey, that day off was covered by donations and the support that I got that day. I had to look at it like that. So when I go out on a day to work at this job, I would have a route pretty much planned, how many houses I was going to go to. So I kind of knew exactly how much money I was making, how much houses I had to go to, and you kind of have an idea of if a house is one that you have to go to and one that you don't. So it wasn't like too bad. It was just the fact that, one, I'm driving there, so there's a travel expense which they're not reimbursing me for. So, and then I had to start working the job, and then you have to get familiar with it. So the first couple times you go out, you can't spend too much time out there, because based on obviously the fact that we're taking pictures of things, you can only do it while the sun is up. The sun, so the pictures are clear and you can kind of see what's going on. I would go to these houses, and I noticed one thing is that, and I noticed even if you guys know, like based on where you live right now, when you go to a residential area, you're not by businesses, you're not by anything of that nature. So when I would go there, I would make sure that, when I wanted to eat or something like that, I kind of would plan it near the end of the day. I would do as many houses as I could, and then when I wanted to eat, I would just do that. Or in some cases, I would eat possibly before, like in the middle of it, depending on the route. If the route had it that this restaurant that I liked would come up, I would go to the restaurant. Long story short, I'm just trying to explain how the job works. It makes it a little bit easier. So let me go into the houses that you have to go into versus the ones that you don't. So the ones that you don't are, like you said, like I said, are very quick. You're gonna go there, you're gonna stop, click, and then you're pretty much done with the house. Boom, $3 right in your pocket. And if you were to do 10 of those a day, that was $30. Not that great, but hey, you're not gonna do 10. You're gonna do, I think I was up to starting to do about 30 or so houses, mixed in with ones I had to go in and ones that I don't. Now, the ones that you don't have to, you're supposed to do them quick, but they're expecting you to go in there, do it really quick, and still make more money by just still having much to do. But you have to go inside the entirety of the house. You have to take pictures of every single room. You have to take pictures of the basement, which is a room, I don't know why I specified that, garage, and you have to take pictures of any damage that you see, because it's pretty much a job with a bank. Like, you're pretty much going on the bank's behalf and checking on the condition of the house. That's kind of like what the purpose of it is. So if you ever see some weirdo outside taking pictures of your house, it's probably because the bank wants to know what the condition of the house is. Is it being taken care of properly? Is it run down? And most importantly, is it abandoned? Did the person that was paying the mortgage randomly just decide to leave. And that I've come across that like maybe once or twice, and like every time I would stop by the house, there's no car, the house is in the same exact condition that I saw it like a month ago, and you know, like the house is clearly not being taken care of, there's nobody coming home. You know, you know it, like let's say if it's Christmas, let's say they abandoned the house on Christmas and you come back there and it's always Christmas, the house is abandoned. They dip, they hop ship. So the abandoned houses that you have to go into, now those are, like I said, it's a longer process. I think you guys are starting to maybe connect the dots. What I mean by crappy situation is that when you need to go to the bathroom, you obviously cannot go in the bathroom of a house that is inhabited by a person. You're not allowed to go in, and in some cases, you're not allowed to even show your face. Some of them are in such bad standing that you have to do like literally a drive-by. I mean, you don't get out your car. You have to do it like in your car as sneaky as possible. If they catch you, you have to notate that you interacted with them, because you're not really supposed to. Some of them, like I said, are houses, and then sometimes you have to actually leave a notice on the door and say like, hey, this is the bank is trying to see, you know, if you guys are around, just to let you guys know. The bank wants to know how you guys are doing, or give us a call, we need to talk to you. So you know, like I said, it's primarily like a bank-based job. Now the abandoned houses, like I said, you can't go into those, but the abandoned house, obviously you can go inside. The toilets are obviously 9 times out of 10 not working. They're shut off, but most likely they're not paying the bill, the person that's there. Or for my experience is that some of those houses are been abandoned for years. They're in terrible condition. There's debris, there's stuff around, there's probably dead raccoons and mices and stuff like that. Like this was, like I said, one of the worst jobs that I've ever had, and that was one of the factors. I was going to these houses, I'm like, bro, this house is fucked up, man. One of them was burnt. It was a burnt house, and I refused to go inside of it. Other one, I saw dead raccoons, and so I went inside. I saw dead raccoons. I'm like, no, I'm not going here. I don't know if that's just the first dead one, and then the rest of the homies is waiting for the next person to come in to avenge their friend. Like, I don't freaking know what's going on. I'm not doing that. Which you're allowed to do. You're allowed to say, hey, I'm not comfortable going into this house for XYZ reasons. You have to give a good reason and take photos. Obviously, everything is photo based, but when you have to go to the bathroom, like I said, I already premised this, I already prepared you. We're in a residential area. So if I need to go to the bathroom, the closest or quickest place I can go is possibly like a fast food place, like maybe a gas station. If they allow you to, you know how some places are like, no, it's only employees only. And it was pretty bad and pretty miserable. So what I end up having to do at certain times, I would just have to pee outside. Like walk over to a forest real quick and take a piss. And I'd be like, man, this is crazy, man. Like, and you know, I guess at that point, maybe I could have got some like empty bottles and brought them with me just in case I needed to pee. That's obviously another way I could have prevented that, is by not drinking too much water or liquids before going out. So I wouldn't need to pee, like, or especially need to pee a lot during the shift. But then we come up to, if you need to take the deuce. What happens if you need to take the deuce, Bruce? What are you gonna do? Like I said, I tried. The situation came to, I was deep in the woods. I was deep, not in the woods, but deep into my routes. In this area, there's really no residential, because you're really deep in there. Like, this is probably a place where you have to drive maybe like 2 or so minutes out of the residential to get to a store or something like that. It was deep in there, and I needed to take a shit. I just needed to take a shit, man. And when I you know, I'm like looking around, and I'm trying to look at my options. You know, taking a shit in the public is hard to do. Not because, you know, constipation, but you know, you need to squat, you need to make sure no one sees you. I think it's actually considered indecent exposure if you do so. So I did the best thing that I thought I could do. And the best idea that I came up with is like, let me go to an abandoned house that I know that's on my route, and I will take a shit, you know, properly do it. Like, if you take a shit in the woods, what you normally would do is you dig a hole. You dig a hole, you shit in the hole, and you cover it up. Like, you know, you got to be respectful. You know, you can't just be leaving shit just kind of standing up like that. So that's what I would do. I would make sure that I was prepared, you know, if I needed to do that. So I take this shit. Oh man, why am I telling this? You guys like, comment, subscribe, man. I've been holding this story back for a long time because it's really funny to me. So I take this shit and I leave. Yeah, you thought there was a catch to it. Well, there is, but I left that house. I left that house. That house was actually a house that I marked abandoned, because every time I went there, like I said, nothing's changed. The house is exactly the same. Every time I would go to the house, I would leave. It was actually a house that I had to knock on the door and stuff like that. Nothing changed, and I would come back and I would see it. I actually put a sticker on the door of the house to say that this house is abandoned. It's abandoned. You guys have to come and evaluate the house, and it's abandoned. Come get the keys. That's what the bank, you know, they'll come get the keys so you can go inside and check the condition of the inside. Now, I had went the next time I had to go, and it was the same situation. I had to take a deuce, and I noticed that when I went to then do the proper thing, which was like take a pictures of the front and stuff like that, I noticed that they had scratched it off. The sticker that I put that said it was abandoned, so I put another one. I was like, well, I guess we can play this game if someone wants to claim that this house is not abandoned. But this time, someone answered the door. Oh my God. And I'm thinking like, dude, that means I took a shit in someone's backyard, man. I felt so bad. Yo, imagine if I got caught though. Think about that. You are in your house and whatever, you obviously the person neglected the house. The house looked like an entire mess on the outside. With a bunch of debris and a bunch of stuff scattered all over the place. You don't answer the door for like at least 1 or 2 months. It wasn't like my first time going there and I was like, oh, I could definitely take it. It's a house I've been to multiple times. And then like the 3rd or 4th time, they actually come out the door like, hey, what's up? I'm like, what the hell? And I just imagine you just at your house and you look in your backyard and you just see me taking a shit. Just fucking popping a squat, dude. Just like, oh man, I felt so bad. And I held down to that story for a long time. And I hope you guys enjoyed. But I'll never do that job again. It was like, 1, it didn't pay that well. And 2, there was no room for improvement. You know how crappy it was? It was like, how crappy. But it was like pretty much, I was doing the job. They started trusting me with more work. And I was like, yeah, sure, I can do this work. And then I would say, okay, so what's the next step? And it's like, the only way you can make more money with that job is by doing more houses. But there's a limit, you know, unless you're gonna be like driving around from like the crack of, like as soon as the light comes over the horizons and then do like what? Like several towns? Like you'd have to do like 50 houses, 60 houses in a day. And they have to trust you with that. And also these houses, like I said, I kind of slightly mentioned it. You go do these houses like once a month. To constantly check on them. So once you do one house, you can't go back to the house tomorrow or the 3rd day. The bank doesn't care. You have to have a large list, like a large list of houses to do. And it wasn't possible. Sometimes I would do like 30 houses, then the next one I'll do like 20, 15, you know, like it just depends on what it was. It wasn't stable of a job at all. And I was craving stability. I was also craving to take a shit. YFOs in the comment section below. Let me know how you feel. Tell me, what is the shittiest job that you've ever had in your life? Why did you leave it? Or are you currently working at that shitty job? And if you do, take a shit in the bathroom. Go to your manager's house, take a shit in his backyard. Nah, but you know, hopefully you guys enjoyed the story. And if you guys look forward to more stories, or if you guys want me to touch on certain issues or current events or anything like that, leave it in the comment section below. And just remember that every day at the Kashino is your lucky day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.